Good afternoon, Westwood, and welcome to Flay High Field. It is senior night. It is May 23rd, Friday night. Joined as always, Evan Cardamino on camera and microphone. We got Max Pollock on microphone. Morgan Donahue here, folks. Max, Evan, nothing better than senior night, especially a senior night after you've been crowned the 2025 TVL Large Champs. Anything better than that?
I don't think so. I mean, it's been a long time in the making. I believe the last one was 2018.
Yeah.
So it's a big win, especially now that Medfield's not in the league. It's a chance for Westwood to pounce on these big opportunities like winning the league.
Absolutely, and it was done in exciting fashion. I was watching on. I watched it later because we had girls' senior night with. I believe they were playing Hopkinton here, so I was watching it on HCAM later, and Westwood was like down 4-0 early.
Yeah, I was in the Varnern's living room, and we were watching the game, and we were like, "Oh no, what's happening?" We turned it off actually.
Yeah.
We left, but after the game, I called my dad and said, 6 goals in the first quarter, I believe, and then 2 the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So
yep.
big bounce back from the Wolverines there.
Great sign of the Wolverines settling down and finding their game, which is always a good sign of a championship team. And you know what, Todd Zaharik, who is the best timeout caller in the state of Massachusetts, called a pretty good timeout to get them going. And we are underway here at Flay High. Wolverines with a nice win on the draw. Classy move by head coach Todd Zaharik. He's got all seniors starting the game tonight. And keep an eye on that man right there with the ball, 21, Dante Martucci. He is 1 point away from 100 to cap off a remarkable career he's had here at Westwood High School. It is not just lacrosse. He is a tremendous football player as well. Great running back. Going to be playing lacrosse at the next level next year at Assumption. Max, what was it like playing with Dante?
Just a great leader. Not only a good leader, great lacrosse player, and one of the nicest kids I know.
Yeah.
If you ever had a question, he'd answer it.
Yeah.
Especially on the bench,
Yeah.
we'd always we'd laugh at a bunch of things, and just a really down-to-earth kid, and really excited for what's to come for him at Assumption.
Absolutely. I saw that. I was watching a little bit of senior night from the Hopkinton team. They played. They had theirs yesterday in the monsoon. Holliston go to the net. Shot goes just wide, and the Hopkinton goalie is going to be playing lacrosse at Assumption.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It goes from enemies to friends.
Yes.
You see that a lot, especially in the TVL. There's a lot of talent in these sort of teams. So it's going to be great for Dante to be playing at the next level. I'm really excited for what he can do because he is a very talented player.
Yeah, they can still be rivals, be frenemies on the same team, as you're rooting for your high school team, but then, also rooting for Assumption to win. So everyone wins there. Oh, just missed picking that off was Fredrickson. Harvey able to pick up the ball, though. Finds an open Fredrickson who's going to cross the 50, and he's got some speed. He's got Malloy down low. That pass gets deflected and then ends up in the stick of the goaltender for Holliston. Sawyer Kelly, sophomore. And right back the other way goes the Panthers. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I have when I do Holliston Hopkinton games, I mix them up in probably 10 count usually is the over-under, Evan?
I usually would set the line at 8.5.
8.5.
But
yes. And I'm not the only. Evan's done it too.
Yep.
It's so easy to mix up the H's.
Right. Holliston, Hopkinton, both in the
40-minute drive away. Shot goes wide. But basically, to surmise it, both teams with an H that you like to beat. And both teams that, when we have Wolverines on the podcast, they do not like these teams in a good way, competitive, and they love to beat them. And a good example of that, Westwood Boys Baseball the other day beat Holliston at home on their senior night to become TVL Large champs themselves. They're co-champs with Holliston, and that's the first time in 10 years and the second one in 20 years for baseball. So incredible season for Brian Whalen and his squad, making history.
And when it comes to Holliston specifically, it goes back to the football game, the Thanksgiving game. A lot of these guys on this team play football on both sides, and they both want it badly. They both want to beat Westwood. They want to beat Holliston. Almost did Hopkinton there myself. But these are two teams that want to beat each other, and it starts there. early in the season in football, but it then goes across all these sports. These are two rivals. These are two teams that want to beat each other. They have each other circled on the calendar.
And folks, on senior night, you know it's a big night when you got Jay Risha on the mic. There is probably no bigger game I remember lacrosse-wise with him on the mic than the Long Meadow game a couple years ago. Game winner, Caroline Nozzolillo calling game. Everyone running on the field. What a sight to see in the town of Westwood. An amazing memory that I'll remember for a long time. Shot and a save by Pollock. He didn't flinch on that one.
Nope. Knew right where that was going.
Is there ever a time when you watch your brother, in the cage getting these 100-mile-an-hour shots, 90-mile-an-hour shots at him, and you're just like, wow, that actually was kind of impressive?
Yeah,
you gotta
all the
give
time.
him some credit, right?
Especially when he just started.
Yeah.
So he was an attackman,
Yep.
and he decided to switch over the goalie, and I believe it was the right decision. He put in a ton of work, and every time I go home, I ask my dad basically says, I wouldn't want to be in there.
Yes.
Yeah, you just get shots fired at you, not only in the games, but every single practice.
Yep.
I remember one of the first practices, I fired a shot and I hit him in the leg, and he screamed at me. But it's all fun and games too. I think he enjoys it.
Yeah.
He points out the bruises and the bumps, but they go away.
Absolutely. He's a smart man. Everyone knows the ladies love the bruises, and it's. I used to joke around. Matt Foley, a hockey player of mine, and he had a nice goal in the playoffs, and had a nice highlight reel from it. I go, Matt, if you are not playing that, any chance you get at college, when you meet new friends and whatnot, you're doing life wrong. But the ball is, I believe, in the Panther stick. Yes, in the stick of number 7 for the Panthers, Ethan Anastasia. But well defended by the Wolverines, securing that perimeter. Heels on a cliff on that 30 and forcing them to restart. Hancock looking to get that ball loose. He's got the stick on stick shot, and that finds the back of the net. So the Panthers get the first goal. Ethan Anastasia on the board. 1-0 for Holliston.
Good looking bounce shot there.
Yeah.
It's hard to track those.
Holliston goal, scored by number 7, Ethan Anastasia.
That was a well-placed bounce shot where you're kind of handcuffed, where you don't know whether to keep the stick high or low, and it's hard to get the stick back up if you already got it low.
Yep.
Spoken from a guy who played 7 games as a goalie in 8th grade.
Look at that.
And then you have to make the difficult decision come high school. Do I play baseball or do I play lacrosse? And lacrosse was not the program it is today back then.
Yeah, the way Coach has turned this program around has been incredible, especially since the 2018 was the last TVL large title.
Yeah.
This year has been such a success. A lot of big wins, but some losses, but we bounced back.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Coach before the game. He said his first year was 16 years ago, so 2009, and he said before him, and I confirmed too, that there was 9 coaches in 9 years for boys lacrosse.
I think he mentioned that.
Gillis being one of them. I think Gillis was one of the coaches in early 2000, and he ended up becoming golf coach, shortly after that. So, but I just remember it was kind of a revolving door. It was a secondary sport back then, and my goodness, the job he has done to make this what it is today, a TVL large champ, mind you, is incredible. And then getting kids, and when you look at the younger guys on this team too that are going to Westwood High School, staying at Westwood High School, it's remarkable because they do that because of how good this team is. And then you got a guy like Don Byron who shows how you can go to BU out of Westwood High School. That is the best marketing you can have for playing at your high school and knowing you can still get to wherever you want to play collegiately out of your local high school.
Exactly. So I think it was my freshman year. We barely had enough guys to fill a JV roster.
Yeah.
So we were basically going around the hallways and recruiting kids. We didn't have a goalie. We got Greg Vasilevsky out of the halls to come and play goalie for the first time. And he loved it.
Yeah.
And I mean, what this program has become, you can see, I don't know, the bench is a little short there, but it's just producing quality players.
Yeah. And they have a JV game after this, so the JV guys are not on the sidelines like we saw the Dedham game. But they are going to play immediately after this. Holliston looking to go to the net. Shot, and that goes wide. That was a shot from Owen McLeod. As a player that played with Don Varner, and how cool was it to be able to play with a guy who went from Westwood High School and is playing on a top 15 team in the country?
Yeah, well, as even like in select before high school, like kids my age were leaving to go to private schools, and it kind of, I guess, created a stigma around the lacrosse team. It's like we're not going to be good because we're losing all these star players to private schools. And then when you come up and see Donald and what he was able to do through Westwood, it just teaches people in the high school. It's like, even though I'm here at a public school, I can still play D1 lacrosse, and it was really impressive.
I understand right now. Pass inside, that gets loose. Martucci picks it off the hop. He's going to work it across the 50. I understand St. Sebastian's right now is like a top five team in the country, and they have like more than a few Westwood kids on the team.
Yeah.
Imagine that at Westwood High School. Shot by Stuhler. That gets blocked. Ball on the ground. Be picked up by Sesselman.
Yeah, St. Seb's lost too.
Yeah, oh really?
Yeah, they lost in the semifinals to Tabor in overtime.
Oh, it's a good Mass team. Well, it's interesting because Don played in an all-star game, public school versus the ISL. Public school guys won. You know, there's a remarkable amount of talent in the public school. Ball gets knocked on the ground, then picked up by Walsh. Westwood able to keep the possession. Holliston with the lone goal, up 1-0. 3 minutes remaining here in the first quarter. Wolverines looking to tie it up. Stuhler holding on it, working it across the infield.
Another slow start to a senior night.
Yeah. It's been a little bit since they played, cancellations and moved games because of the weather. Fredrickson going towards the net, makes a nice move. Inside shot and a goal. Troy Fredrickson gets Westwood on the board and ties it up 1-1.
Great looking jump shot right there. Had the defender fooled, had him at GLE, turned around. That left-hand shot is almost unbeatable.
Yeah, great hips. He's able to turn on a dime and find an opening to be able to launch.
Westwood goal scored by number 22, Troy Fredrickson.
So I think it was halfway through the year he got his 200th point. And it'd be interesting to see where he ends up, because he's got to be close to maybe potentially being, if not being, the all-time point leader in Westwood lacrosse history.
Yeah, he just produces points. The way the offense runs, it's almost through him.
Yes.
So when he gets the ball, defenses, even though they know it's going through him, it's still hard to figure out, because he not only is an amazing shooter, the way he passes the ball, it gets the defense moving.
He knows when the double team's coming his way, especially working towards the net, he finds guys wide open. Like, right there, two guys. And a shot by Fredericks, a nice save there by the goaltender, Sawyer Kelly. But when he sees the slide, he will just chip that ball, and it allows a guy like Walsh, a guy like Williams to just launch. And those guys can really shoot. Ball gets over Westwood and Holliston's head. It's going to go out of bounds. It's going to be a Westwood possession. Westwood will get the ball on a turnover. Interesting to see Gasparo with a long stick in his hands today. He did that a little bit last year.
Yep.
This year he's been more of a defensive midi, and now long stick midi today, which is cool to see.
Yeah, Z is not afraid to switch people around in positions, especially like last year, Ryan Hughes.
Yeah.
He was a pole at the beginning of his high school career, switched to short stick, switched back to pole, and was a starter last year as a senior, and was incredible. He's playing club at UNH now. His progress was amazing to watch too.
Ryan Salvage having a similar senior season, where just maximizing his time out there, and is really one of the best defenders in the TVL, along with Harvey and along with Ryan Williams. The three of those guys have been spectacular. And it looks like Gasparo playing actually defense right now. Cochran sends it over to Roy Croft. He's going to settle it down. Wolverines were potentially looking at a fast break there, but opted to settle down. Smart move, as the Panthers were getting their defense back in check. Walsh makes a move, looks inside, just misses on the connection to Roy Croft, who took an awkward step. I think he just kind of rolled the ankle a little bit, but looks like he's okay. Ball's going to stay with Westwood, though. I don't know if that caught a piece of a Panther player. It certainly wasn't a shot.
It looked like Roycroft was trying to avoid going in the crease there.
Yeah, good call. Is that crease? It's not that secondary line. It's that
blue circle.
The blue, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a little confusing. There's a lot of lines here.
There's a lot. There's a lot of sports that play on this field. Liam Williams looking for an open space. Dish it off to Roycroft, who gets it in the back of the net. Nice pass there by Williams to Roycroft with the finish for the Wolverines to go up 2-1.
And Morgan, that's going to be a deflating goal for Holliston here with 28 seconds left in the first. They're going to have to sit on that if they can't bounce back here in the next 28 seconds, and they're going to have to think about that until they get playing again soon.
Absolutely. Roycroft, yep.
Westwood goal for number 23, Jack Roycroft.
And that was a beautiful
Assisted
pass.
by number 26, Liam Williams.
That was a beautiful pass by Liam Williams. And we were talking about this earlier. Liam Williams, my opinion, a superstar. And I think one of the best in the state of Massachusetts. And he's a guy who could probably put up 80 goals a year, but so unselfish. You know, will look and just wants to win. Shot. That's
Nice
saved
save.
by Pollock. I think that caught a piece of his foot. He's walking it off a little bit. Tough kid. Do you ever shoot on your brother in the backyard?
Used to. The net unfortunately broke.
Yeah,
so
too strong over here, huh?
Exactly.
That's a nice flex. Huh?
But it was funny because we used to shoot in the backyard, but we were both shooting because he was an attackman, and then once he switched to goalie,
That is the end of the
decided
first
to go to
quarter with the
multipurpose.
score Westwood 2.
So after
Holliston won.
one quarter of lacrosse, the Wolverines up 2-1. We'll take a quick break. You're watching Westwood Boys Lacrosse on Westwood Media Center.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Welcome back, folks. Wolverines up 2-1 after one quarter. Goals for the Wolverines: Troy Fredrickson, Jack Roycroft. The lone goal by the Panthers was Ethan Anastasia. Probably the lowest scoring quarter we've seen all year.
Yeah, I would say so. It was a really slow start. Westwood got off to a 1-0 deficit, but managed to bring it back within two quickly here at the end of the first, and they're in control and they have the momentum as Holliston wins the draw control there.
So the Panthers with the ball, they work it across the 50, and they're going to look to get inside the 30. So Max, both teams, when you have that ball, you got to get it inside the 30, and they call that a touch. Does that mean you've established possession when you get it inside the 30-yard line?
So possession is called when the ground ball is picked up after the face-off.
Sure. Yeah.
But in order to keep possession, instead of a shot clock, which high school doesn't have, the 30 and there's the blue lines. I don't know if you can see it on camera. You have to get it inside there, and then you can go out whenever you want.
So I've seen, and that was a goal there by number 23 for the Panthers. That is
Holliston goal scored by number 23, Jack McElligott.
With the goal and ties it up at 2. One thing I saw, it was during the Chowder Cup, Westwood had the ball for so long that the ref then, it wasn't a shot clock, but they had to stay in a smaller area.
Yeah, keep it in. That's what the ref says. They say keep it in. Means once you get a touch, I think it's under 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. It's to prevent stalling. You have to keep it in the box, and if you step out, it's a turnover.
Yeah, it's been one of the topics of debate as of late is a shot clock for both boys and girls, because think about it. you could get the possession with 4 minutes left. Ball shot off the post. That was off the stick of Ethan Anastasia. He scored the first goal for the Panthers. But in the MIA meetings, one of the biggest, or kind of one of the most controversial topics, I wouldn't say controversial, but it was certainly high on the list, was the shot clock. Because, say for the girls' game, you can't really hit to knock balls loose. You got to be precise with knocking that ball loose, stick on stick, right? Where you could get that ball with 4 minutes left and just run it around for 4 minutes. And, you almost want the other team to score so you have a chance to get a face-off to even have that opportunity. Where they wanted to have, just a kind of the ability for a team to have a come from behind win, even with like 4 minutes left. So, in the guys' game too, obviously they'll shorten that space if you're holding on to it and whatnot. But I like the idea of the shot clock.
Yeah, I do too.
You know what I would do now, since that's a topic of conversation, is invest in shot clock gear and start selling it to the high schools.
Yeah, that's a way to make money.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the shot clock, it just speeds up the game.
Yeah.
Any college game you watch, it goes so much faster than a high school game just because they're forced to shoot. And there's strategy behind it too. Like if you shoot, you miss, and there's 2 seconds left, you'll see the guy on the end line. Even if you get the chase, just dump it into the corner because then they have to pick it up in the corner. You have time to set up the ride.
Smart. I've seen that. It's a funny play, and I didn't understand it. If you don't know the game like a player, you'd be like, "What is that bad sportsmanship?" It's actually no. It's just a smart play of allowing your defense to get into position. So turnover by Westwood. Westwood a little sloppy here on the start, and the Panthers looking to make the most of it. They're up, they tied it 2-2. Wolverines get the ball on the ground. Ball knocked down by C.J. Hancock. Picked up by Harvey. Harvey working the breakout. Finds Jack Stuhler, who crosses the 50. Stuhler's going to send it off to Walsh. So a nice turnover there by the Wolverine defense to get Westwood's offense going. Williams looking inside. That's a bit of an overthrow, but picked up by Stuhler on the backup for the goal. My goodness, I think Williams was initially looking for Jack Stuhler, but Will Stuhler there on the backup, and then puts that in the back of the net for the Wolverines' third goal.
Yeah, that's just situational awareness.
Westwood goal scored by number 1,
It's
Will
a little bit of a
Stuhler.
risky play going out because if that shot gets through and Stuhler comes from behind the crease, that's a backup for the goalie. That's Holliston ball. But that's good, just good situational awareness, recognizing that the ball could be tipped, gets out in front of the net, and creates a goal.
I mean, I'll have to see the replay, but I thought he was looking for Jack.
Yeah, it looked like he was.
And Will, well positioned. I mean, if it was a pass to Will, perfect pass. But Will wasn't there yet, and a nice pickup by the Wolverines. Walsh looking to shoot. He just goes wide. Westwood gets some of their best offense on those really clean face-off wings where they just go right down Broadway, and it's a fast break. When you get that face-off guy out of the mix, it's an odd man situation.
Yeah, that's just stuff we practice. Last year we focused a lot on fast breaks. We'd run 4-on-3s, 5-on-4s. Not only for the offense to score on fast breaks, but for the defense to know who's sliding, who's going to who's going to be the first slide, who's going to be the second slide, and it's a lot of communication goes into that.
So one thing we were talking about was Liam Williams. When he shoots lefty, it is just as hard as his right-handed shot, and I'm telling you, it's 90s. And we haven't seen many of those lefts. When we start seeing those, he might be saving it for the playoffs, and that ball gets loose. When he's got that lefty shot, it is pretty darn impressive, too.
Yeah, it's tough for goalies to notice, too. I mean, if you have 2 hands, better than 1.
Yeah.
So
it might be something he's saving for the playoffs because I saw a lot of it last year, and this year it's been righty only. And it's been, obviously very, very impressive. It is an absolute cannon. But the left was there was a lot of goals on the left side last year, and it was just as hard of a shot. So Panthers with the possession, they're able to get it down into Westwood territory. Walsh playing man-on-man, and then now Sesselman playing man-on-man with number 9, Alex Robbie. Panthers going to work it around. Overcast day, somewhat mild breeze today as well here at Flay Hive. It was a very interesting week weather-wise. A lot of rain, and that's a shot off the chest protector. Pollock finds Walsh in stride, and Westwood has some numbers. Walsh to Cochran, a little bit behind, and he's going to just settle it down. But that would have been a terrific. And Jaden wanted the goal there. I mean, he wouldn't have got the assist just because he had sent it down, and Walsh delivered it over to Cochran. But that would have been an assist in our book, in the unofficial book.
He loves those long seam passes. He's pretty accurate with those.
That was a beautiful pass. I mean, he caught him in stride, and there was no one around him, and space all in front of him. Shot by Stuhler, and he scores. Will Stuhler, his second goal of the game.
Incredible move. Had the defender lost, just gets above goal line extended, rips it top of the net.
I don't know where he found space there.
Westwood goal scored by number 1, Will Stuhler.
He was fired up.
There's one guy who stepped up his game big this season. It's been Will Stuhler. The sophomore has had a tremendous campaign this year, and we've called his name a ton in these games, and he's getting a lot more scoring opportunities. He's getting a lot more playing time, and for the next couple of years, we're going to be keeping our eye on him.
Yeah. I mean, all the sophomores have been terrific. You look at Stuhler, Sesselman, Hancock, Martucci to the back of the net, and that's 100 right there. 100 points for Dante Martucci to cap off an incredible career.
Goal scored by number 21, Dante Martucci.
You can see Tim Malloy there.
Career point number 100, Dante Martucci.
Yep, Paul wants to see there.
Yep. Congrats to Dante Martucci. Incredible accomplishment. That is long-term success personified.
Yeah, that's just who he is. I mean, not only is he a great lacrosse player, good kid, and that's really what matters. So big congratulations to him.
And a big goal for the Wolverines there, too. That now puts them up 3, and Martucci helping build a lead to get the Wolverines a little more comfortable with the score of the game. Still got to keep their foot on the gas, but definitely feeling a little better than they were at the start of this game. They have tightened it up.
That's a save by Pollock again. He's going to pick it up. So Wolverines starting to get their game going. Pollock looking for Walsh. That was an overthrow. Picked off by 17, Caleb Greenberg. He gets it into Westwood territory, gets inside the 30. He's got a big stick, though. Wolverines trying to get that knocked loose. Shot and a save by Pollock. Picked up by Ryan Williams. He's got some room. He sends it far side to Cochran. Cochran takes a hit. Ball hits the turf, but able to pick that up. Cochran looking for space. Shot, and he scores.
Off the
bounce
bar.
Shot under the bar. Beautiful finish by the junior, Sam Cochran.
Westwood goal scored
Yeah, he
by
just
number
noticed
15,
that little bit of space,
Sam
took
Cochran.
advantage in his speed, allows him to just blow right by the defense and place that shot essentially perfectly.
Westwood has found their groove midway through the second here, and they're starting to get good opportunities, good looks, and good shots.
That all started from big save by Pollock. Then Ryan Williams, nice little clear pass to Cochran. And that's 3 goals in 90 seconds. Jay Risha was just telling us. Incredible explosive goal outburst. And we have an infraction on the face-off by Westwood. It's going to be a free possession for the Panthers. And Wolverines able to get the ball. Jack Roycroft. Nice caused turnover by Westwood. They're going to get their substitutions in. Coming on the field is Liam Williams. He's got some space, and that's not what you want to give Liam Williams. When he has some space to get his feet moving, he can make some moves to get a nice hard shot, which he does. That goes just wide left.
Good D, force him outside.
Ball stays with Westwood. Cochran there on the backup. Nice little pick move by Sesselman. Cochran working inside, going to go lefty. Sends it back to Sesselman. Sesselman and Stuhler go back and forth. Sesselman been one of those guys too, Evan, just sensational sophomore year. Just such a smooth operator. Sends it up top to Roycroft with a shot, and he scores. Jack Roycroft, his second goal of the game. Puts
That's
the
great ball
Wolverines
movement
up
there.
7-2.
It all started with Susselman's
Westwood
dog
goal
behind the net
scored by
there.
number
Had his
23,
defender
Jack
lost.
Roycroft.
That allowed the slide to come in and
Yep.
just creates open men.
Assisted by number 16, Will Sesselman.
Like you mentioned, the sophomores on this team having a big campaign, and it's we talk a little bit about, getting younger guys in and getting them the experience, and we've seen these guys as freshmen. We've seen Hancock get playing time as a freshman.
Yeah.
We've seen Sesselman and Stuhler last year getting playing time as a freshman, and those minutes translate to meaningful play for these guys. They're learning early, and now a year later as sophomores, you can see their development and their progress, and now we're calling their names more and more, and that's big for Coach Zahurik. He's losing a lot of great seniors this year. They're moving on to the next level, but he has a bright future ahead of him. He has a lot of young guys who have stepped up big for this team.
Absolutely. Walsh shooting lefty. That goes by, and I think Holliston had the positioning they do. So they well positioned. That was a defender standing behind the net with, I think, Stuhler. But I guess that's why. You expecting a shot that might miss, you get in that possession if you're closest to. Stuhler gets a stick on that. Then picked up by Panther goaltender.
Another nice play.
Kelly.
Open net
Wolverine's
here.
able to come away with it. Fredrickson looking for an open net shot, and he scores.
Two nice defensive plays there. Had Holliston really confused there.
And that's been big for Westwood, the defense. Their defense has stepped up big time here. First of all, 2 high IQ plays by
Westwood
Fredrickson.
goal scored by number 22, Troy Fredrickson.
The other person, I think Stuhler, thank you. 2 big high IQ plays pushing it there, because what I've noticed is the Holliston goalie is playing up high. When he's making these passes, he's going all the way up to the 40-yard line. So they're capitalizing on that.
He's coming out of the net. I mean, and we were seeing that a little bit in Walpole. Jaden actually took a couple shots at the net.
Yep.
But it's their way of trying to. Oh, Hancock looking inside. Shot by Hancock and a save by Sawyer. That was a beautiful save there by Sawyer Kelly. It's funny, when CJ's looking to shoot, because that windup takes an extra second with the long stick.
Yep.
You were calling it a couple weeks ago when he was trying at the 30-yard line. You're like, uh-oh, and it hit the bar and went in. It was a
incredible shot.
fun goal. The Panthers able to get it across. They have some room going towards the net. Shot.
Nice stick check there from
Great
Hancock.
stick check.
Another thing I want to point out about the playing conditions right now, we mentioned it's been a kind of dreary week here in Westwood in Massachusetts. I've seen a lot of these guys starting to slip. That turf is slick right now, and you can see some of these players are getting, off balance, and it's getting open opportunities, which Westwood has done a good job of capitalizing on.
Yep. And Wolverines get the turnover. Ball knocks loose. Harvey picks it up and gives it to Pollock. Pollock looking for a seam route again.
Oh, nice
Finds
pass. Got
Martucci.
dropped.
Dropped it, picked it up in stride. And Wolverines looking to add a couple more if they can. 2 minutes and 5 seconds and counting remaining here in the first half. Wolverines up 8-2. Evan Cardamino, Max Pollock, Morgan Donahue here on the call. Senior night here at Westwood High School. 12 remarkable seniors celebrating today. Looking to get a big win on senior day. Shot by Sesselman, that's saved. And then picked up by number 45, Charlie Lansdale. But Westwood gets the ball back. Liam Williams going to the net. That shot goes wide, and that is probably going to end up in the marsh. And it does. It's the part of the wetlands is there is some lacrosse balls and soccer balls that don't come back.
I think if you cut down those woods there,
Yeah.
you'd find thousands, maybe millions.
There is always one brave soul that, will go into those territories. Pass inside. Stuhler was flipping it to himself. It was kind of impressive. But there's always a brave soul who will go in there, and you might as well be ready to flick off a couple ticks,
Yep.
as you go into those woods. But I'd imagine there's probably no shortage of 1,000 lacrosse balls in that area, and probably about 75 soccer balls.
There's probably some good Westwood memorabilia in there. Some
absolutely.
historic balls from some games, big games.
Hancock gets the stick on stick there and knocks that shot wide. So no shot on net there. Some great defense by the Wolverines to keep shots, helping Jaden out.
Yeah, that's back-to-back great trail checks by CJ Hancock. He waits for the right moment, stick draws back.
Yep.
Just that split-second moment when the stick is too far back, just goes straight down on the stick and ball pops out.
Ball inside. Sesselman going to send it over to Roy Croft. Roy Croft looking to make a move. He's got an outside angle. Pass inside to Will Stuhler, who scores. Will Stuhler with the first half hat trick for the Wolverines.
And that has to be deflating for Holliston here. You know, that's a goal let up with about 30 seconds left in the game. And now
Westwood goal scored
they
by
have to
number
sit on
1,
that for
Will Stuhler.
a whole half. And not just a minute in between the first and second quarter as we saw last time. So big for Westwood there to keep the momentum going into halftime.
Will Sesselman.
After a very slow start, it was, what, 2-1?
2-1.
Yeah.
2-1 at the end of the first, yeah.
Timmy Malloy wins the draw, but miscommunication on that pass. Going to be a Holliston ball at 24 seconds left here in the first half. 20 seconds and counting. Anastasia looking for some ground. Well defended, though, by Martucci. Shot, an easy save by
Get a
Pollock.
quick goal here.
Pollock looking to move it. He's got 11 seconds. He sends it over to Cochran,
what a
who makes a
catch.
one-handed catch, but falls down. Cochran throwing it towards the net. He's got 4 seconds. Picked up by Fredrickson. Shot, and
One-handed
he
goal.
scores!
What a
Troy Fredrickson with 0.4 seconds remaining. How in the heck did that happen?
That's a highlight reel goal all around.
My goodness.
Westwood goal scored
It all
by
started
number
with the
22,
Pollock pass
Troy
there.
Fredrickson.
Defended, sidearmed it.
3
Cochran,
goals, hat trick,
amazing one-handed
Troy
catch.
Fredrickson.
Troy is able to get through that defender and one-handed, believe with his right hand, was able to sneak it by short side.
I mean, statistical anomalies where you got Pollock who sends it to Cochran, who's got to go up and get it with one hand. I mean, doing that is, and catching it is very low. And then to just send it
That is
down
the end of the
river
first half, and the
to
score is a
Fredrickson, who's
Westwood
got to
10,
pick it up with one hand himself,
Holliston
send it
2.
in on net while the clock is winding down, and to do that within, the regulation and with a 400th of a second left on the clock, absolutely incredible. I mean, that's certainly Evan potential top 10 highlight.
We're gonna have to put that on the list of our already long list of highlights to add for this season. But like we mentioned too, that is a deflating goal if you're Holliston. You know, that's one of those goals that now you have to sit on it. Meanwhile, if you're Westwood, you're going into halftime here with that energy of Fredrickson just capped off a great second quarter for the Wolverines, and they're going to carry that into the third.
Yeah. Well, that is going to do it here at halftime. Wolverines up 10-2 after a slow start. We'll take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back for the start of the second half.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
So great finish for the Wolverines. Welcome back, folks. Evan Cardamino, Max Pollock, Morgan Donahue here. Westwood Media Center coverage of your Westwood Boys Lacrosse. Wolverines up 10-2. And the highlights, 10 goals from your Wolverines, but Mr. 100, Dante Martucci, getting his 100th career point on a goal. Nothing better than getting it done, but getting it done on a goal, that's how you want to get it done, where it's a memorable one, and it just reminds me of like Ovechkin this year when he scored that big goal. History and done in exciting fashion. And right off the bat, Wolverines get the possession.
Yeah, that we talked about that momentum going into the second half, and the Wolverines are carrying it here as they drive to the net.
Roycroft behind the back.
back.
Aspirations there, and that goes wide.
That's shades of Dante Martucci. And can't forget that game last year against Dover Sherborne where we saw that behind the back goal.
And we have a goal there.
Sam Cochran.
Sam Cochran.
Nice looking shot there.
Absolutely.
Just got space.
His second of the game.
Westwood goal scored by number 15, Sam Cochran.
He has had himself a year. And last year he was a midfielder, and he was part of that rotation, fresh legs and whatnot for the Wolverines. This year he's provided such an added level of arsenal to the attack and to the goal scoring, and he really knows how to make the most of those tight angles.
Yep.
And a great passer, too. You need to be one, kind of like that Brendan Varner down low type player where, yeah, you want to score goals, but you need to make some quick, catch passes. Catch pass, catch shot type goals. Kind of like what you did with Logan Lopes.
Yep. On senior night.
On senior night, no less. We saw Logan's younger brother in the Dedham game. So Lopes very involved in the lacrosse program, and we're going to see younger brother in the program very soon. But that was a cool game the other night, seeing a lot of first-time goal scorers for the Wolverines. Sesselman with a little spin move. Well defended, though, or great adjustment made by Holliston. Get back in the play. The ball hits the turf. Fredrickson takes a whack at it, but stays in the stick of Ethan Anastasia. And
good
we got a
timeout there from
timeout.
the
That is a
Holliston
good
coach.
timeout call. But one thing I want to say is shout out to you see a lot of the girls track running on the track right now, and girls and boys track amazing time at the TVL championships the other day. And some things to shout out. I think the boys were 4th place. I think the girls were 3rd. But school record was broken in the 400, or I think it was the 400 or the 800. No, it might have been the 400. But Taya Pignotti broke Lord Teen's record, and Troy Fredrickson picks the top right corner.
As I've said before, you cannot leave him open with his left
Westwood
hand.
goal scored by number 22, Troy Fredrickson.
But, back to the track real
Assisted
quick.
by number 16,
These girls
Will
are always
Sesselman.
here. They're always on the track working, and they're always they're obsessed about it, and I love it. It's just like their level of competitiveness to become better and better, and I'd have to imagine winning that state championship has made them even hungrier for the next one. And seeing them just always on the track together, competing with each other is just an amazing example of, people, a team that really is getting after it and wants that next championship.
And Morgan, talking about track and field there, you mentioned today you see them warming up and practicing and working on it.
Yeah.
It's not just today, folks. It's every day we come
Yes.
here. We have a game here at Flay High Field. You see this track and field team, girls and boys, practicing, working on it, trying to improve their times, and it's paid dividends. I would argue if there's any team that's had great success this season, you have to include track and field and cross country. They've gone to TVL states. They've sent students to nationals. The cross country girls won a state championship. They have had a tremendous year. 2024-25 has been a track and field year for the Wolverines.
And folks, we brought it up earlier, but we said Liam Williams, I have not seen the lefty shot this year. We got a lefty shot,
Westwood
lefty
goal
goal.
scored by number 26, Liam Williams.
Only a matter of time, and that just shows, folks, how good that left shot is. And we haven't seen too much of it this year, but what a rocket going right to left. And you wouldn't know if he's a righty or lefty shooter based off of how he shoots. They're both equally impressive.
Yeah, that's how you can tell the good players from the great players.
Absolutely.
And when you can't tell, I played with some guys that you couldn't tell, and they were some of the best players I played with. So.
And shout out to Sandy Williams. She has been the Keith Lockhart of putting the senior night festivities together, helping coordinate with the coach, with Jay Risha and myself, and the players and the parents, everything. You always need a quarterback like that to help kind of get everything together. So shout out to Sandy, terrific job. And she's got the little tent set up right there, which is perfect as the rain is starting to come down.
got to give a shout out to Ryan, her son, too, on this team. He emailing me beforehand, making sure he knew he was helping me out, knowing when the senior festivities were. So got to give him a shout out as well.
Looking out.
Help out his team, get some coverage, and we're happy to be here.
Yep. That was a nice seam pass by Holliston. Will Sessman able to get in the play. Hancock gives a little whack.
Any chance Hancock can get a whack on someone, he will take it.
He gets a lot himself, especially like on the wing for the faceoffs.
Yep.
You're going to get a few. But, yeah, to take some to give some, it's part of the game.
It hurts.
These guys don't wear nearly as much equipment as they used to.
No.
No.
That's shocking.
They used to play with wood poles. Some guys in college still do.
Stop it. Wood?
Yeah.
Show me a picture.
I think I forget who it was on Princeton in the Syracuse game. A wood pole or a wood short 60 midi intercepted a pass in the defensive zone, went all the way down and scored on Syracuse.
That just sounds like someone looking for attention, no?
Yeah, and it hurts more. It hurts way more.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I mean, that's like, you put a wooden hockey stick in someone's hand these days, and they say, "I can't play the game." You need the composite sticks.
It's way heavier.
Yeah. For stick handling, for shooting. I mean, just holding the thing. You feel like, your back is going to go out holding like an old Coho wooden stick. Overthrow on that gets by Fredrickson. Harvey, I don't know, Harvey down in the Harvey looking for a goal. He got his first one versus Norton this year. Love to see him get a second one on senior night. That'd be a great moment. Fredrickson looking inside. He's got two bodies that look closed in on him. He's going to send it up top. Looks like we got members of the baseball team here. Love to see it. Walsh passes up top. That's to Gasparo. And it misses the net, but Stuhler.
Ooh, went for the air gate there.
Stuhler caught the missed shot. Made it look like nothing. Stuhler looking like Pollock there with the no flinch catching the stick. And took it to the net with a little Superman action. Just missed. Walsh, that's a shot, and he scores on a tight angle. They're going to have a great angle from this position here, but finds the back of the net for Westwood's 14th goal.
Perfectly placed bounce shot short side.
Westwood
Very hard to
goal
save
scored
there,
by number
especially
17,
off
Greg Walsh.
Yep. So after the slowest quarter in Westwood's season, the Wolverines have answered with 12 goals since then. We're halfway through, just about a little over halfway, or a little under halfway through the third quarter.
Something interesting, Morgan, worth a note. Usually with 10, when you're up 10 goals, you get running clock, but we actually haven't had any running clock.
Yeah,
I think it's fourth quarter only.
Fourth quarter only? A little different than the girls lacrosse games. I know that is usually at any point.
Yeah, each team or each sport has different rules. Softball, baseball with the mercy rule too.
Yeah.
Baseball team's cheering for Nick here.
They say we want Gizzy. Gizzy looking inside, looking to shoot. Does get the shot off and saved by the Panther goaltender. There's another save by Sawyer Kelly. Harvey picks up the ball. He's showing that he wants in on the action, but he's going to dish it off. Ball back on the stick of Gasparo. He loses his stick. Ball on the turf. We got a whistle.
Looks like a push there.
Yep. It's going to be a Westwood ball.
It's good to hear, the baseball team supporting, get some members of the Den out here to support today on senior night. Love to hear the crowd noise.
Love it. Haven't really had much of the Den since football season. I'd say the next, basketball, like right around the holiday schedule, had a little bit of a den, and then the boys hockey playoffs. that was a heck of a den. That celebration, you had everyone up against the glass. Stuhler, pass inside to Gasparo. That shot saved.
Hit the post there.
Oh, it hit a little piece of the iron. But speaking of Stu, it was funny when Timmy Malloy scored the overtime winner. During his interview, he kept referencing the Stu, and I guess he means the student section.
Student section, yeah.
Yes, I got to pick up on these words that you guys and your words. You guys make new words each week, and it's hard to keep up.
New lingo.
Yeah.
It's so the parents can understand.
Yeah, right. Well, they don't. And and then when I asked CJ, he will make sure I don't know because he wants me to continue to look like a extraterrestrial when it comes to communication with today's language. Pollock to Hancock. Hancock's got some space. See if he shoots here. He's walking in,
Nice pass.
finds Jack Stuhler. Jack Stuhler looking to shoot, and a save by Sawyer. But a nice breakout there, starting with Pollock to Hancock to Stuhler, and a nice save by Sawyer Kelly. I would have put money on Hancock shooting there with all that space and running into it.
He never sees that much space.
No.
I would have thought he would have shot it.
Unselfish play. I probably would have shot it myself. Not often you get open space like that and a running start. John Quinn playing short stick D. That's shot from the outside, saved by Jaden Pollock.
He's seeing it really clearly right now.
He's having a good game.
It looks like he's not even flinching on some of these shots. Now that could be the placement, but looks like he's calm and composed.
Which is exactly how you want to be playing around this time of year. Playoffs on the doorstep. We're expecting pass inside, Stuhler to Stuhler. That gets knocked loose, but we're expecting, Evan, the brackets to be out by Wednesday?
Yeah, I was looking at the Metro West News was my source, and it was saying mostly.
Ooh, Stuhler with a big hit.
He might be on the shorter side, but that was a big hit.
Will Stuhler laying the wood. Picked up by Roycroft. Roycroft taking it towards the net. He got a roar from the sidelines. Now Stuhler looking to shoot, and he scores! That's what you would call a Gordie Howe hat trick in one play in the game of lacrosse. Will Stuhler with a thunderous hit and a thunderous goal to put the Wolverines up 15-2.
Westwood goal.
It's a great goal there.
Number 1,
it's an all-around play by
Stuhler.
And he is racking up the goals.
Assisted by number 23,
he might hit
Jack
100 this game.
Roycroft.
So Stuhler, he got 1, 2, 3. That is his 4th goal, I believe. But that one felt like, a 4-point play.
Yeah.
That was like that Milan Lucic shift where he just hits everything and then puts the puck in a playoff game when he's playing for the Vancouver Giants. What a 20-second span there for Will Stuhler. He got the sideline all fired up, the baseball section there just off to the right-hand side. Right around the 5-yard line. And they're looking to see some senior goals. They were cheering on Gasparo.
And they're going to have a big tournament this weekend, too. The Fredericks Memorial Tournament in Braintree. They'll be playing Braintree.
Oh, my goodness.
Nice pass there.
Oh, my goodness. That was Williams to Stuhler and a Martucci for the finish.
And that's one of the most unselfish plays I've seen all game. Stuhler had wide open lane to the net, decided to pass it. Great
Martucci.
Tic-tac-toe on the goal. Martucci with the finish.
Will Stuhler.
And that is something that I'm sure head coach Todd Zahurik loves to see, sharing the ball and finding an open senior to put that in the back of the net. Martucci with his 101st point. And explosive offense since the first quarter for the Wolverines. Now up 16-2, 2 minutes remaining here in the third quarter.
Tim Malloy coming out on attack. I'd like to see a goal out of him.
Oh, yes. We called a playoff goal by him. I don't know if you remember that, Max.
Yep.
North Attleboro game. He won the face-off. Did a little toey, a little bounce shot, hit the right under the bar.
Yeah.
Boys went wild for that. You know who had a goal that game as well? Ricky Kosavera.
Yeah. I was on the field for that one. That was incredible.
And I believe he had a highlight reel, and it said it was that clip, and then it said, "Thanks for watching."
Yep. That was a great moment. Not only was he fired up as a goal from Holliston there.
Yep.
That was a great moment. I mean, I think it was our only home playoff game that year, so
Holliston goal scored by number 23.
We got up by enough, and Z put in the bench players, and that was an incredible moment. There's a picture of him after the game, pointing at the corner that he almost ripped. So that was a great moment.
That's fantastic, and I remember that moment, and that was his junior year, so it wasn't even his senior year at the time, but that was a great game. I ended up playing golf with the North Attleboro coach last year, and he was telling me he's North Attleboro coach, C.J. Hancock with the draw control, and I said, did you guys play Westwood in the playoffs a couple years ago? And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, that long pole on your team. And I didn't even say anything. That was the first thing he said. But Don had like a 30-yard goal on a man up in that game, which was just a highlight reel goal. But he was good for like 1 or 2 highlights a game.
Yeah.
And Todd isn't wrong when he says that you have to play defense when Don is off ball on defense.
Yeah. You gotta essentially lock him off.
Because he's a ball hawk. He sees that ball coming from behind the net, looking for the other team, looking for a player or a cutter. Pass inside.
Wow.
Stuhler to Stuhler! We got it! Will Stuhler to big brother Jack Stuhler. And we've been waiting for that one, and there is no one more proud of that goal than Mama and Papa
number 12,
Stuhler.
Jack Stuhler.
That's a great pass and a great finish there. Able to keep his feet out of the crease.
Brother number 1, Will Stuhler.
Love to see that. We've been talking about it this season, and Todd said he can't wait. We've seen a lot of passes that were very close, saves by goalies, walls that miss the net, and that is something very special. They have been doing that their whole life in their backyard. I've seen them here myself when I'm walking the track, working out together, and that was a Stuhler-to-Stuhler goal, and that is a special one, folks. For Jack Stuhler, the senior, pass from sophomore brother Will Stuhler. Jack having a terrific senior campaign for all the sports he played. He was a terrific swimmer, and they had a lot of Wolverines at the sectionals. They were the TVL champs this year in swimming. Aaron Wakab as well. Pass inside, outside, back inside by Holliston, and Harvey there to clean up the loose ball. He's going to set it up the middle as time expires.
That is the end of the third quarter. The score, Westwood 17, Holliston 3.
So after 3 quarters of lacrosse, Westwood 17, Holliston 3. Stick around, folks. You're watching Westwood Media Center coverage of Westwood Boys Lacrosse.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Welcome back, folks. Kicking off the fourth quarter, Wolverines up 17-3. And Wolverines will look to just work the ball, maybe get a couple goals, but there is going to be no stoppage with them being up 14 goals. So let that clock wind. And Gasparo now with a short stick. We've seen him play defense. We now see a short stick in his hand. Now we're seeing the baseball team working the other end. They want to see some goals. Will Sesselman, nice spin move, looking towards the net, holds on it. Baseball team, they got, what's that game? You see that on the beach.
Spike ball.
Spike ball, yes. They're having some fun. They earned it with the TVL championship yesterday. Or, excuse me, Wednesday. Yesterday would have been an interesting day to play a game.
Yeah, I canceled that one.
Hopkinton did. They played their senior night game for lacrosse.
Award there.
Gasparo a little fired up out there. Having some words with number 7, Ethan Anastasia. And it's going to be a Panther ball. Game can get a little spirited sometimes.
Once again, we mentioned it earlier. These are two teams that when they play to win. And they really want to beat each other, and they They have these opponents circled on their calendars, and
Dante
Martucci with a hit.
Martucci, but we got a flag in the air. It looked like a clean hit, and it's going to be a penalty. Did I hear a whistle, and they're still playing through, or? Yeah, they're going to still play now, the whistle. Thought I heard an earlier whistle, but it's going to be a flag. I think it's going to be on.
Looks like they got.
Is there two?
They had Jack Roycroft with a pole and Dante Martucci with a pole.
We saw, I believe, a pole goal from Martucci the other day. Or was it a pole assist?
I think it was an assist.
A pole assist. And special senior night festivity. I'm seeing a big box of Chick-fil-A working its way over to the senior night tent.
That's a classic. Did that last
These
year.
kids love the Chick-fil-A. Yeah, the Wolverine's going to be a man down. So Martucci in the box. That's the one thing the scoreboard here doesn't have is the penalty. Puck.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So they know, but we don't. You know, shot goes just wide of Pollock, but
Gonna
catches
look for
the
a
outside of
seam
the
here.
net. And he's gonna. Is he gonna just let some clock tick off? You think too,
Yeah.
with just being down?
Yeah.
Want to obviously get into some good habits come playoff time.
Here. Oh, Tim Malloy on attack still.
Is that John Quinn on attack as well?
Yeah.
Aaron Wakab. And ball back of the stick of the Panthers. But there is no love lost between these two teams. When you look at the football rivalry, it had been a while before last year where Westwood had won the Thanksgiving game. And they had lost big, many, many years in a row. So for them to do it in the fashion they did 2 years ago at home was remarkable. Joe Vinci talked about that being one of his favorite memories coming out of the high school, to be able to do that with his brother. And then to go back-to-back, which is one of the hardest things to do in sports, is to go back-to-back, especially when every team has a target on you, and they still did.
Yeah. Last year was incredible. As a senior, you want to go to the football games. You want to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many games I went to freshman, sophomore, junior year, but senior year, having that team, I think we went undefeated at home.
Malloy with the shot.
He wants one.
He had some zip on that. That was a pretty good shot by Timmy.
Yeah, Tim likes to shoot it around at practice when he's not taking face-offs.
Well, he saves it for the playoffs. They call him Mr. Playoffs for a reason. He saves his goals for the playoffs and the heroics as the clock continues to tick. So we are inside 8 minutes remaining in the game. Wolverines up 17-3. Evan Cardamino, Max Pollock, Morgan Donahue, as the rain is trickling. Ball knocked loose out of Malloy's stick, but Timmy able to pick it up.
That's that face-off.
Yes. Pass inside to Quinn.
Looks like a twister there.
Oh, he got it in the stick. It was just a hard adjustment to get that towards the net. That would have been a beauty. Hockey player to hockey player goal.
Yeah, and you can tell on that ground ball that energy and physicality comes from face-offs. He puts his head down, knows he might get hit.
One-handed, he could do it with no look. That was impressive. Sesselman with the shot. That goes wide. That would have been cool. A couple of your fellow teammates. I understand you were part of the hockey team last year.
Yep.
Really cool. How fun was that Norwood game?
That was incredible. Yeah. Unfortunately, I was filming, so I couldn't really cheer. But at the end of the film, when Max O'Brien scored that overtime winner, me and Luke Fraga, who was a lacrosse manager actually last year, we flipped around the camera. We were going insane. The crowd, the den was going insane. That was a great moment, especially because we had played him earlier this season and lost by a good amount.
Martucci doing a swim move with the pole. Ball got knocked out of his stick. Goes out of bounds, going to be a Hiller ball. The clock continues to tick. Wolverines at what number ranking right now, Evan, for
you put me on the spot. I want to say 10.
12 on Max Preps. I believe 10 in the MIAA. So if the playoffs were to start today, they would have a home game and then most likely be on the road for their second. Their goal is to get into the 8th spot. So they're going to need some help from, basically the few teams in front of them to lose a game versus, probably an opponent they shouldn't lose to, and another just simple save by Pollock, making it look easy.
Well, anything can happen at this time of year, Morgan. We're in the latter half of the seasons. Some teams, if they're confident in their ranking and they don't, they might say, hey, let's take it easy for a game or two and rest our guys who are going to be starting and focus on the playoffs, especially if you're locked in. So.
Pole goal there from Jack Roycroft.
Jack Roycroft with a pole goal. For a second, I thought Pollock was going to cross the 50. And, and it did a nice little lob pass, though.
I think that's the one thing Z would not let him do right now is cross the 50. If he gets injured there, that could make or break the season.
Yeah.
So
Westwood goal scored
I
by
think Z's
number
telling him to
23,
see that
Jack
blue circle over there
Roycroft.
staying in.
Did you see the Albany goalie in the
Assisted by
playoffs?
number 12,
Yeah.
A
Jack
couple years ago?
Schuler.
Yep.
What a highlight. Albany goalie ran out of the net. He was looking to just clear it, then had space, kept taking the space, did a couple moves, like fake pass moves, spin moves, scored as a goalie in a playoff game. Face-off won by Holliston. Wolverines explosive since the first quarter. Now they're just having fun. Some pole goals.
And Morgan looking ahead to the playoffs.
Hancock with a nice tap to knock that ball loose, picks it up. He's had a great game on defense, knocking balls loose and also making it difficult for balls to get to the net as Panther players are shooting.
Well, Morgan, looking ahead at playoffs here, we will know around roughly Wednesday what the playoffs are. But based on rankings that have come out today and just, doing some guessing here, it's looking like most of the Westwood teams will have at least one home game. Girls softball right now sitting at 7. That would get them 2 home games. And girls lacrosse at number 3 would get them home field advantage until they move to neutral sites. So Westwood having great seasons across all sports.
I was texting with Coach Whalen last night about baseball, and I said, Westwood is not a team I want to face right now in the playoffs. They won 9 of 10 games, and very similar to how basketball did it, didn't really have a path to win a TVL championship, but you rifle off 9 of 10 to give yourself the opportunity to go up against Holliston, who had clinched a share and beat them. Just a great story, and one he is so proud of. I mean, the TVL championships do not come easily. You have to go out and earn it, and they did.
Yeah, I mean, too, we talk about when we filmed them for the first time, when we got to their first game, was the King Philip game, and they lost that game, and that dropped them to 4-4 on the season. So Westwood had, at that point, they were at 500. They were fighting for their lives, and they win 9 of the next 10 to get not only a TVL championship, but to lock yourselves into a really good spot in the MIA playoffs. Throughout the majority of the season, they were sitting around 28-29, so they had a good chance of locking in the playoffs. They just weren't going to have home field advantage. And they just turned it on late after that game. I think something clicked after that King Philip game, and they just kind of locked in and turned their season around quickly, and credit to those guys. And
Walk up with a shot that goes wide. Part of it is they've had some emergence with pitchers. Charlie Martin, terrific job helping out where takes some pressure off, just the pitching depth, and he's been getting some good innings to close out games. You typically see him like after a Chandler, start.
Yeah, he had that save against Medfield where it was him, I believe Longo went in the 5th, and then in the 6th and 7th, Charlie Martin was in there, and he, held on and held Medfield at 6, and Westwood was able to bounce back and get a win there, which was key for their season. But, Westwood also had the emergency.
Walkup to the back of the net on senior night. Aaron Walkup, love to see it.
Little celebration there.
Yes, he is fired up, and so is the sidelines.
Westwood goal scored by number 29, Aaron Walkup.
What a story Walkup was. 3-year team manager for the Wolverines. His senior year
manager.
decides to play, and he's had a great season as of late here for the Wolverines.
3rd goal of the year.
Yeah, and on senior night, no less. What a way to spend your senior night.
When we interviewed him, he had such an amazing and thoughtful answer. I said, how does it feel to be a part of, to be on the board? And he goes, just to be a part of this win and have my goal, listed in the number of goals for our team is, so cool. And him saying that, it's just what a humble kid and what a great story from him. You know, and his contributions, what he's done to help this team get better and to be rewarded with 3 goals on the season. Jack Stuhler looking for another. Ryan Owens looking inside. Walkup tried to get a stick on that. Quinney as well, and then saved by Holliston goaltender. We got a new goaltender in now. Not on the roster. But Panthers have the ball with 15 seconds left. Shot on net, saved by Pollock.
You know, after a slow start, they closed out this game, or not even closed. They just went on a run and didn't look back from there.
Yeah. So, a terrific senior
That is the end of the game, and the final score is Westwood 19, Holliston 3.
Terrific senior night for your Westwood Wolverines. 19-3
Holliston's
winners.
regular season finishes 12 wins, 6 losses. Westwood finishes 13 wins, 4 losses. Tri-Valley League large champion Westwood Wolverines. Stay tuned. In just a minute, we'll begin the senior night ceremony.
So a terrific win for your Westwood Wolverines. Their last regular season game before the playoffs. As you mentioned, Wednesday will be the day we think is when the brackets will come out, so keep an eye out for that. We will certainly be posting about any updates of who, what, where, when, why, and we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to some playoff action, and for all the sports. All these teams are primed up in a great position to make some deep runs. We're looking forward to bringing that to you and telling that story. But real recap, quick recap, Wolverines 19-3. Guys, any final thoughts?
Great win for Westwood today, just to cap off the season and get some good momentum going into the postseason. The guys are going to have to work hard the next week, keep fresh, keep the practice going, and they're now moving their attention to the postseason. Enjoy the win, but still got a lot of work left to do in the season, but a great way to start and head into the postseason.
If they look anything like they did today, it's going to be tough to beat them. Only 3 goals allowed there from Pollock.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for much better than that.
Rick Wall, you got to say nice things to your brother today.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, that is going to do it here from Flay High Field. Wolverines 19-3 winners on senior night. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. We're looking forward to seeing you all on the next one.
Westwood High School Sports, brought to you by Cadillac of Norwood, where luxury meets performance. And Arch Orthodontics, creating generations of beautiful smiles with expert orthodontic care.
Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Boys Varsity Lacrosse Senior Day here at Westwood High School, as we honor our Westwood Wolverine senior class on this Friday of their final day of classes and final regular season lacrosse game. We will introduce each of our seniors one by one, team managers first and then the players. They will present flowers to their parents and take photos. But before we begin, if I can share a few words on behalf of Westwood and the community. First, a word to the parents and guardians. Parents, you have been behind your players since the beginning. Whether age 7 or 17, you have supported them in every way. Now they are approaching the completion of their academic and athletic careers at Westwood High School. You are to be thanked immeasurably for all you have done and all you continue to do. Thank you, and let's hear it for those parents. And a message for our seniors. Seniors, we have watched you grow from babies to kids into the young adults you are now. We have always loved to watch you play, and there is a range of emotions as the end of the season and the end of your Westwood High days arrives. As one journey ends, another begins, of course. So these are our wishes. May the lessons you have learned in the classroom and on this field serve you well. May the people here today be with you every step of the way. And may your futures be bright as you head for the next challenges that await you just around the corner. Congratulations, and let's hear it for our seniors. So let us begin, and as I call each player, they will walk across to their parents and loved ones, present the flowers, and then pose for pictures. And we will be beginning with the team managers. First, Eli Ifra, joined by parents Ron and Gail. Eli is attending Tulane University for finance. Team manager Frankie McNamara is joined by Eileen McNamara and sisters Becky and Ellie. Frankie is attending Quinnipiac University for Business Analytics. A quick shout out to our third team manager not here today is Mackay Dickerson. And now on to the players, starting with captain number 3, Timmy Malloy, joined by his mom Kathy, brother Ryan, a 3-year varsity player headed to Providence College. Next up is number 9, Jack Fallon, joined by parents Mark and Christine, a 2-year varsity player, ROTC, and studying criminal justice, heading to Michigan State University. Next is number 11, Ryan Salvage, joined by parents Dave and Sue, a 2-year varsity player, heading to Indiana University, pursuing a degree in business. Also accompanied by Sister Emerson. Next is number 12, Jack Stuhler, joined by parents Tracy and Matt and brother Will, a 2-year varsity player going to Tufts University studying computer science. Next up is number 21, Dante Martucci, a captain, joined by his parents Diana and Eddie, and brothers Gianni and Enzo, a 4-year varsity player in the 100-point club, and will continue his lacrosse career at Assumption College, studying kinesiology. Next up for the Wolverines, number 22, Troy Fredrickson, a captain, joined by his parents Kelly and Dave, grandparents Pete and Carol, and sister Celia, a 4-year varsity player in the 200-point club, multiple all-TVL recognitions. Troy will continue playing at Hamilton College. Next up is number 23, Jack Roycroft, a captain, joined by his parents Maureen and Alan, sisters Katie and Sarah, a 4-year varsity player in the 100-goal club, multiple all-TVL recognitions, continuing his playing career at Union College studying economics. Next up is number 24, Kyle Harvey, a captain. Joined by his parents Peg and David and his brother Wyatt, a 4-year varsity player. Will be attending Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University studying aeronautical science. Next is number 25, John Quinn, joined by his parents Sean and Pam and his brother Jake. A first-year varsity player who is attending Quinnipiac University for biology. Next is number 27, Nick Gasparo, joined by his mother Christina, a 2-year varsity player. Nick will be attending Stonehill College and studying accounting. And finally, number 29, Aaron Wacob, joined by parents Richard and Mary. First-year varsity player, will be attending the University of Tampa, studying finance. Is there a group picture? Let's hear it one last time for Westwood Boys Lacrosse and the seniors. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our Senior Day ceremony. Stay tuned for MIAA tournament information, pairings, and schedules next week. Wishing a pleasant Memorial Day weekend to all. Drive safely, everybody.